Flight boss, bitch. For sure. Listen to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And this video right here is about issues. Do not let a small issue turn into a big problem. I repeat, do not let a small issue turn into a big problem. Because here's the thing. We all got issues, but we do not all have problems. Let me repeat that. We all got motherfucking issues, but we do not all got problems. So, let's break this motherfucking video down. You could break that down by itself and get a clear understanding of where we're going with this. But for the most part, let's break this down from a 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional aspect. Now, what is an issue? Now, y'all lost in so many things in the 3rd dimension that issues could look like anything. They could look like non-issues and slowly but surely become issues, just based upon you being lost in that light or that person or that place or that thing or that shape or that form. You see what I'm saying? It may not even appear to be an illusion to you. May not even appear to be an issue to you. But goddammit, in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, it is an issue. And that's where I see things from. So, what are issues, and how do issues derive? Now, or where do they derive from? Now, here's the thing, right? You look at an issue, we look at magazines. Now, you can think about a clip, or you can think about an issue out of a magazine, out of something that you're reading, right? Now, for the most part, when you look at a page or an issue, that would be like issue 1, issue 2. So we know that issue contains that information, right? Now, here's where an issue could come out of that, right? You get subpar, subsidiaries, whatever the fuck the word that y'all call it. Y'all know when y'all get sub-brands, off-brands of things of that nature, right? Now, here's where things become an issue, right? You get one brand, and then it looks the same, but there's something different. There's something tweaked. So, think about now you probably think I lost you, because I like to go to the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. So all my fake conscious people right now probably even look at this and be like, well, he lost me, I don't get it. So let me break this down to 3rd dimension, right? Now, 3rd dimensional wise, when you're going through a circumstance or a situation that's familiar to you, so you're around a person that has a familiar characteristics about themselves, or you're in a situation or a living condition that's familiar to you. The moment something is changed, something is tweaked that make you uncomfortable, that don't match your vibe, yet it still remains in that same condition, that same situation, or that same character that you're familiar with from this person, right? It becomes a minor frustration, and that minor frustration is what y'all call issues. So for an example, you get up and do the same thing every day. The moment someone stops you from doing that every day, it becomes an issue, right? So you're trying to do the same thing every day, but there's an obstacle or a road blockage in front of you that's preventing you from doing that as freely as you did it, as you familiar with doing it. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. So you're getting into a concept where issues is derived from. Issues is derived from you being familiar. So you being familiar is you building a conscious body, you building memory, so that's you fixating yourself in some shape or form, in some way. You fixating yourself in some type of pattern or some type of routine for you to become familiar with it. And then sometimes people get lost into it and it becomes indulging in things of that nature. But let's hope it don't get to that level. But for the most part, you're going to cling on to something that you're familiar with. Now, once a minor adjustment come into that and mix things up, right? That becomes an issue for you. And you would like to rectify that issue so you could go on with what you are familiar with more pleasantly, more smoothly. You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to blend the 3rd dimension and the 4th dimension for y'all. You know what I'm saying? The best way I can, but this is the only way you really can explain it in this way. Like, a lot of people will probably watch my videos and be like, well, why can't you just explain it 3rd dimensional wise? Because you won't get the full potency of what I'm actually trying to explain to you. You see what I'm saying? So it takes a person that's in 2 different realms to actually break it down so you can kind of get it as a whole. You see what I'm saying? Everything ain't simple like that. You see what I'm saying? Now, otherwise, everybody will be doing what they want to do. without no justifications and things of that nature. So therefore, that lets you know life ain't simple. So the more you try to simplify things in life, the more you're going to lose yourself into the light, the logic. You said the logic of things that's always trying to make sense out of things, aka simplify it for you. So keep that in mind. Now, when we're talking about as far as the circumstance where you got issues, right? Now, here's the thing, right? We all have issues because things is always constantly changing, and that's letting you know that things, the only thing that stays the same is things going to constantly change. So the moment you fixate yourself into any routine or pattern, your spirit is going to remind you that something is going to transform, whether you like it or not. And the more lost you get fixated into something, the more catastrophic that experience is going to be when it gets taken away from you or when it transforms, whether it's physically or whether it was something that you manifested outside of you, whether it was a person, place, or thing that a situation had to get manifested in your life, that these people had to play you in some way or get taken away from you in some way in order for you to realize that things is always going to change. And until you develop the understanding of that spiritually, that's when you're going to actually understand how you're supposed to astral travel freely, you know what I'm saying, and learn how to die, learn how to actually transform without having no attachments, but still being able to enjoy the realm of reality that you are in without being lost between the two, being blurred. You know what I'm saying? There's a big confusion when people get conscious thinking that you're supposed to detach from certain things and not enjoy life. That, see, people is misconfusing what your spirit is here doing, period. You see what I'm saying? Now, for the most part, when you got issues, right? Now, these things are minor, right? These are minor things that your spirit, like these are like minor wrenches that your spirit throw in front of you to remind you, don't get too comfortable. You see what I'm saying? Don't get too comfortable. And if you learn how to work with these wrenches, you will learn that the grass is greener on the other side as long as you're going on into the right yard. You're being led into the right current, the right direction. You see what I'm saying? So it's letting you know, don't get attached to any person, place, or thing, but enjoy it for what it is. Therefore, once you start to ride that frequency vibration in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, you know what I'm saying, you'll start to understand the whole concept in the 3rd dimension of what it even mean to have issues. And a lot of y'all bring issues on yourselves. And a person who is really vibrating low, these are people who take small issues and turn them into big problems, aka make an issue a world of its own. Turn an issue and make that issue have a life of its own. Then that issue end up becoming overwhelming, and then that issue end up becoming a part of you. And it becomes a part of you, like your skin or your blood or something like that, to the point that you always have to justify this issue and you can never leave this issue elsewhere. So here's where we're going to get into that. You know what I'm saying? Never let small issues turn into big problems. And this is where people do in life. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people have a bunch of small issues. You need to know that your every day is not the same. Seasons change. The weather ain't the goddamn same every day. The way the air moved on your goddamn skin ain't the same as it was yesterday. So goddamn, your thoughts and ideas and your concepts that you thinking you're going to experience ain't going to be the goddamn same. So when you get fixated because you feel too comfortable and situated, and then the people, places, and things that's around you kind of flip on you a little bit, your ass want to make that small issue and turn it into a big problem. Therefore, now you want to live in that world. And if that problem is a world you live in, that problem ain't nothing but a big ass energy ball of trial and tribulation. So your ass just made that a world that you want to live in. And therefore, once you jump into that world, everything becomes a motherfucking issue. Even the things that wasn't an issue. So you need to understand never to let small issues turn into big problems, because all issues are small. There is no big issue in the world. This is why you can see the most retarded person in the world become very successful. So, you see what I'm saying? That retarded person don't have a problem. You probably got a problem with that person becoming successful. So now you got a problem with the world we in and shit like that. No, you spiritually fucked up and shit like that. What you need to know is that person took their issue and made it a good issue. You see what I'm saying? Whether you looked at it like a problem or not, it was just an issue, a minor issue. So all issues are minor by default. There's no issue big. And if it's a person going around preaching like they do got some big ass issues in their life, then you need to check them. Because you could always point to someone else living in the same realm of reality that we're living in with a much larger issue than this person try to amount this issue to be. And you need to understand that the person is vibrating low the moment that they try to take a fourth, fifth, or sixth dimensional concept, which is a situation or a circumstance. So if you have an issue, not a lot of times that's not even manifested physically yet. A lot of times that be insecurities and things of that nature. So that's not even shit that's material yet. So for the most part, the moment you start trying to weigh it, you start trying to put a percentage on it, you start trying to say it's large, you start trying to make your issues outweigh other people's issues. This is why you can't do this for someone, or this is why you can do this. You see what I'm saying? Like, the moment you start to put your issues on a scale, you're still vibrating low, because now you're determining issues. Now you're bringing your issue into a realm of reality that it really haven't even manifested in yet. So you're forcing it in this realm of reality. So you're forcing these experiences here. So if anybody looking at you in a negative way, that's on you, because you're the one always forcing issues. So you need to understand that that's not a good thing to force issues. Why do you even think a person will even say, why are you trying to force the issue? It's like our spirits can't escape this shit. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, you just need to stay on board and know what you're doing. So don't force an issue, because the issue is always minor. And the moment you start to force the issue, it becomes a big problem. And once it becomes big, it becomes a realm, a world, because you have put a bunch of your waters, your fires in it. AKA, you put a lot of your imagination and your feelings and emotions into that issue. So you done swelled that seed up. You done swelled that small issue into a big realm, a big world. Now it's a big world. It's a big problem now. Now it could be shot out and it could be seen in the external realm as far as due to air and earth, aka other people thinking and analyzing your issues. Now is transporting and shit like that. And now it could be made solid, aka it could become a circumstance or a situation, or it could become a material or something that you have manifested in your life because it mattered. So it became actual matter in your life and climbed that little DNA ladder and shit and became a solid situation or a burden or a responsibility in your life, aka you got this issue constantly with you. So y'all see how I be saying, because a lot of times I be seeing shit. Y'all see how it's not rambling. It's just y'all have to let me bring it together. It all comes together at the end. So you see how at the beginning I was fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. Then throughout this, what I was just breaking down, it was third dimension, and it still ended at the same root cause of everything. Don't force the issue, or it's going to be something that you carry with you. See what I'm saying? So forcing the issue is the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional aspect of it. And it being a burden with you is the third dimensional aspect of it. So you need to be careful when you making issues big problems. You see what I'm saying? Because it becomes a world that you could get lost in. Because anytime you emitting an imagination, your fire and water, you emitting the chakra. You emitting a mini, and that chakra is so small because we in the collective conscious, and it's so small you can't see it, so it's scattered. But it's there. You need to know it's there. It's really there. Same way you see the being that you live in you got one too, and you creating children every day. So when you create masculine ideas or feminine ideas and things of that nature, boom, you creating chakra wheels that ain't quite manifested for you to see yet. But if it's just a mere thought, you putting that out in the world. Don't tell me you're not. So for the most part, getting into the understanding of when you got issues and things of that nature, the more you put your imagination and feelings and emotions on a small issue, you create a chakra for that issue to live in. Now, that issue, any spirit that was resonating with that state of being, of however negative or positive that issue that you had was, now got a vehicle to live in. Because now you done had an imagination and a thought form about that issue. AKA, boom, you created a vehicle, a vessel. Now a spirit could go into that and live in existence and take over your ass or influence the people that you are around when you kicking off your dumbass issues onto other people. An issue will trap your ass somewhere in a dark place. And then slowly but surely, it will manifest into you being in a dark place physically, where everybody see you being in a dark place. You know what I'm saying? So you need to keep that in mind too. See, people think dark places is where your spirit. It's all about the spirit. You could be in motherfucking Miami or California and still be in the darkest place of your life. See what I'm saying? So It don't rain in Southern California. It don't rain in the 4th, 5th, 6th dimension. But goddamn, your ass will still be in a dark damn place. So you need to know that. And you could reach a dark place that's so dark that no kind of light will be able to shine there. And your ass will be so lost that it would take for you to go through a catastrophic or transformation or death for you to get up out of that darkness. You know what I'm saying? That would be the only way out of that darkness. So you need to keep that in mind. That is what a dark place is. So anytime you take a small issue and turn it into a big problem, it always going to lead you into a dark place, because this big problem is a world you created. You put imagination and thought, aka fire and water, into that small issue. So you swelled it up, so it became a big world. Now it's a world, it's a bubble though. It's a bubble. So once you go into that world, you in your own bubble. So to everybody else, it's going to look like a dark place. We don't know where that world at, because it's a world you created. You created your own secluded bubble. So for the most part, now you start creating and being fruitful all in that world. You start creating justifications. You start creating oppositions, because, you know, especially if you tie it to a religion or moral system or thing of that nature, you're always going to have an opposer. You're always going to have a Satan in it. So whoever is against that bubble, which going to be the whole world, becomes your Satan. So anyone who's in a dark place like you, that's who you're going to want to absorb your bubble with and make your bubble larger, to the point that y'all all just be in a big ass dark place together where no one can really reach y'all or find y'all. And y'all can't even reach and find yourselves. So, you know what I'm saying? A problem, you could get lost into this problem to the point that you can't even live your day-to-day right. You can't work your job right. You can't be around your siblings, your friends, your family right. You know what I'm saying? Your mind ain't right. You can't think right. You're around certain people that even influence and their spirit is enticing that energy a little bit. So even when you're around them, a lot of times your spidey senses, your pilot senses go up and shit like that and start going flingering all crazy. And then if you don't watch Archangel Uriel, you don't even know what's going on. So then you end up being forgetful. You end up being taken advantage of. You end up being passive when you shouldn't be. And it goes very crazy when you letting small issues turn into big problems. So you need to know right now, if you're around anybody who kicking a bunch of problems in their life, they have let a small issue turn into a big problem. And how they did that is they took a small issue and gave a lot of attention to it, gave a lot of thought, aka fire, a lot of feelings, aka emotions to it. So boom, once they swelled it up, it became a chakra. So now you was able to see it because it traveled through the air. So now you're able to logically and rationalize that. And now now it's bouncing off shit, aka earth. So it can become solid, but it has a shape and form by default. So it's earth itself. So now you can kind of make sense out of it. You can practicalize it, and you can see it for what it is. And you can grab it and take on someone else's burden if you want to, or you can look at it for what it is and let it go and be like, nah, I don't want those problems. You know what I'm saying? And throw someone else's burdens and book bags and suitcases onto the side and be like, nah, man, you go somewhere else with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Leave that shit on the curve. It's all up to you. But you got to be in this realm of reality to see that. You know what I'm saying? And you would know that if you're around a person who constantly have problems. If they constantly have problems, this is a person who constantly like to swell up small issues. Now, a person who like to handle their problems so that like they talk about it like they got problems, but they always got the conclusion to it. They always like, but you know what? All I got to do is do this and I know better. Or you know what? Next time I ain't going to do this. You know, anytime a person got this kind of conversation, don't give up on that person. Put them on the Archangel Uriel, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. Because these are the people that's in their mind by default. They subconsciously on their shit. They subconsciously wanting to keep their issues small. And they just might be around people, places, and things that might just be subconsciously enticing them to swell it up. You know what I'm saying? You could be like, for an example, you could be the type of person who got a certain natal alignment, or you just are who you are, but you might not watch Archangel Uriel, or you might not be into flight astrology or something like that, or you might not be around wise people who just are experienced in their life, right? So you might just be going along spiritually, right? And you might be into yourself like, man, these issues ain't really that big, but you just might be around a location or around people and places and things that they throwing influences on you that make you, that they swelling up your small issues for you. They making you look at your small issues as big problems. So they creating the world for you. Like, you ever been around somebody, like, you got a small issue, but you don't really want to tell nobody because you like, man, it ain't that serious. But you go around somebody, and then as soon as you get around them, they be like, man, if I was me though, man, that's fucked up. I would have did this, man. You ain't do that, man. I would have said that. Or y'all females, y'all know y'all get around y'all friends like, it don't even be that serious. Here come your over dramatic ass, Leo ascended ass friend. Like, nah, girl, I would have sliced her motherfucking ass face with that knife when I had it, or this, that, or third. Nah. I believe it was like this. Nah. And then you really go to them for advice. You be like, am I tripping? And then here go your friend. Nah, you ain't tripping. Nah, it was like that. Nah, you really should have hit that motherfucker with your car. You know what I'm saying? And then like now your motherfucking small issues a big ass. You all thinking and adding emotions now. Like, you spinning the block now. Like, nah, yeah, I am about to hit that motherfucker for cheating on me now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't even an issue. Motherfucker didn't even cheat. See what I'm saying? So that's why you have to be careful. Be careful out this motherfucker. Be careful. Because you could be spiritually strong and just be around other people who just be blowing your small issue up. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful out this motherfucker. Make sure you stay spiritually intact in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. You know what I'm saying? And get your ass on track so you can be living out this 3rd dimension smoothly in this motherfucker. Love y'all. Flight pause, bitch. Air.